also put their hair up, but it's just those little nuanced things that are different. They're not
Mm-hmm.
better, bad, worse, or anything, but they're different and they're applicable to my life, maybe not to someone else's. So those things, I think, if we were able to come together and have those perspectives talk about, hey, this is what I do, this is my life, this is, how I view X, Y, and Z, or this is important to me because of my perspective. I think if we could have those more open dialogues, not just in wrestling, but in life, it would help with this whole idea of we can't do anything. We're at this impasse where nothing is going to get better. We're just going to keep fighting. And I don't believe that. But I do believe we have to chill the F out and start having these hard conversations and these uncomfortable conversations, that make us really examine those things. Because what do we see on TV? We see mostly, Caucasian, but now in the world, that's changed. We have blended families. We have people coming from the Pacific. We have people coming from, the islands. We have so many different cultures, and there are all these. We are an actual melting pot, but unfortunately, we don't see that, and it's just really disheartening because wrestling, life imitates art, and vice versa. And so,
Yeah.
in wrestling, for that very reason, we should have a broad spectrum, of talented individuals. Don't go get Johnny Backyard or Samoa because we don't need him. But, we need that broad spectrum to really tell the stories of all walks of life that everyone can relate to. That's what really drew me in to wrestling even more is when I saw Jacqueline, when I saw Jazz, when I saw Kong, because I was like, these women look like me. These women are powerful and beautiful and badass, and Kong is gorgeous. Oh my God, she's one of the most beautiful women. But when she makes those faces, like she's about to murder you.
You're like, you're gonna die.
Right, and seeing her be so powerful and so strong, and I just remember, like, finally, I see someone who looks like me. Like, I love Shawn Michaels. I loved Max Moon. I was like, I was such a nerd, I love Undertaker. And these are iconic characters, but it really resonated more with me when I saw someone who looked like me and who could speak to me, as a young girl. And as wrestlers now, we're doing the same things that they did. We represent all of the world to these, young people watching us. And I think if we're not going to be able to tell that honestly and truthfully, like what they see in school or what they see at Food Lion, then we're doing a disservice, to how beautiful the art could truly be. I know that was like a long thing. Sorry.
No, it's not. And that's the thing. Like, people have to be okay with, people are aware, but they're not doing anything. We live in an awareness social media society, but does dumping a bucket of water over your head really do anything for such and such and so forth and so on? Everybody's aware of autism, but what are more people doing about it? Like Katerina Scorsoni, she's an actress on Grey's Anatomy. Her daughter, I believe, has Down syndrome. I think. And she's winning an award for how much she has done to help out that community because it touched her. It was personal, and she took her platform to go and do something about it. We need more people like what you and I were just discussing who are going to go out there and do something about it. Not just, oh, hey, we're aware. No, you can't just be aware because that doesn't change the circumstances that are already still happening and have been happening for generation after generation after generation. And to your point, you can't expect a white person to necessarily know how a person of color wraps their hair at night. But we do. I know, but does everybody know? No. And so when Viola Davis did that in an episode of How to Get Away with Murder, I was like,
she took her wig off. Yes, girl.
Yes. And I was like, I know exactly. I was like, yes. And to me, my grandmother used to always say that the devil is in the details. And it's true. It takes something. It takes something from being orchestrated to something that is now genuine and authentic. For Big Bang Theory, it was very exposing to me when one of the characters held a comic book a certain way, and I went, oh, nobody who values comic books is going to hold that like that.
Touch that, right? Don't do that.
Yeah, they like rolled it up, and I was like,
take them out of the little sleeve. Like, don't touch that.
Yeah, like they like rolled it up or like curved it or something, and I went, That's how you know that person isn't from that sort of culture. They don't have
Right.
that sort of background in like nerdy sort of collector. And I'm a huge collector.
Never.
I love comic books and books. Like
Yes,
I won't
girl.
store my
Yes.
books a certain way, you know, with light coming directly on. Like, but people don't know these things unless you're educated on them. So don't be afraid to, you know, ask questions. It doesn't make you a racist, or it doesn't make you insensitive to ask questions. And people shouldn't be afraid to give those answers, because how do you expect people to know something if they haven't been educated? But to be fair, the education system is very lacking in all aspects. You're only taught about 20% of what you should know. And I'm sorry, but the Pythagorean theorem has not helped me out at all in life. But I spent months learning it in school. You know, that didn't help me learn how to balance a checkbook. That didn't help me learn how to make my money last living on my own, you know, for groceries. That didn't teach me basic life skills. That didn't teach me how to be a better human being in the world. It had no value whatsoever. But with that being said, you can take it upon yourself and have that initiative to educate yourself the other 80%. And that's where that, I think, is the difference between being aware and doing something about it. And